what I've learned over the years, consistency, but the decision making that it takes in your practice and then in the events, the tournaments. And you know, that's one thing that I think that my strength has grown a lot over the past 12 years. I've been doing this a pretty long time, and I've really, really enjoyed it, and I think that I've learned a lot about how to practice. Matt touched a little bit on that, and we'll get started with how to practice. People ask me, I'll talk a little bit first, but people ask me, you know, all the time. I had a guy a while ago say, man, what was the difference last year in being more consistent and, you know, and then past years? And man, I've had some really good runs. I know when 2 years ago I was in second place and FLW with 2 tournaments left. I mean, we got 175 guys, and that's a pretty big difference, you know. The lakes are more crowded. You got to move around. You can't move around as much, but I was in second place with 2 tournaments left and bombed one of those and didn't finish really good in the other one. Ended up, you know, still having a really good year, but I didn't end up winning that title. Like the last year of FLW, I finished 8th, which was really good, but I had another one of those bomb tournaments. And if you can survive that, that's the biggest thing, is learning to, you know, instead of going for the win and going for the gusto, you know, just catch what you can catch, medium. If you're, you know, if you're going to finish 25th place, that's a good tournament, you know, and that's one thing that I did. And a lot of that comes from decision makings in practice and in the tournament. So we'll get started by talking about, you know, what I'm looking for when a tournament's coming up. You know, if I've got a season coming up, I mean, I do as much, we've got an off season, so I do as much research as I can do about the lakes. One thing that we do is, you know, I mean, I study, you know, I used to study paper maps all the time, and we don't have to do that anymore. I mean, you know, I've got an iPad. I look at Google Earth a lot. I get on my Lowrance Electronics, and we got map cards. Matt was talking about map cards. We got Navionics chips, you know, and study that lake. And you study areas that you want to look at in practice. And that's one thing that, you know, when we get to practicing, we got to try to break it down a little bit more. You're trying to break it down and figure out how you're going to catch them. There's so many different patterns going on at all these different lakes, but there's one that fits your style. It may not be the winning pattern, but it fits your style, and that's the thing that I'm looking for every time, is something that fits my style. You know, we look at baits. You know, we're thinking about what it's going to take. We get prepared. You know, I've already looked at, we got St. John's River coming up. We're starting there again this year. We go to Chickamauga. I've already looked at that and made bait orders, you know, getting prepared for that, what I think it's going to take for that tournament. And then we've got the Classic at Guntersville, you know. I've already ordered a bunch of stuff for that, you know, and that's, you know, getting prepared for this season, getting ready to get started. I mean, I placed the biggest tackle warehouse order I've ever placed 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think I placed about an $1,800 order of tackle. I've ordered more than that, but it's usually been a trolling motor or something like that, but I just ordered tackle. And I mean, I've got some of the best sponsors in the industry, so I get a lot of tackle for free. I get a lot of stuff, but we also want to have all of those tools that we need available at any time. I mean, you got to have everything. It's just like a golfer going and playing golf. He's not taking a 5-iron and hitting out of the sand with it. He's got a sand wedge. So you got to have that in the bag to reach in and grab it if you think you need it. So, you know, getting prepared for the tournaments, getting your gear ready, getting everything ready to start the season before each event is one of the key things that I've done over the past years, is trying to be mentally prepared, studying as much as I can before, watching previous events. I mean, there's so many more avenues that the young guys have got now than I had when I was growing up. I mean, YouTube, you can sit and watch YouTube videos on any lake in the country you want to watch just about all day long. You can watch Bassmaster Elite Series from St. John's 2018. You can win it. You can watch it from 2015. You can go back and watch any of the shows, any events that's ever been, and you know, you got to learn from those events, you know. But one thing that I don't know if it's ever happened, is a tournament being won on a particular spot and then going back the next year or the year after and it being won on that spot again. That's something that rarely happens. But you can put yourself in a good area if there's a lot of, you know, if there's one prime area that most of the boats were fishing in the top 12 or something like that, you can get yourself in a good area that's good over the years. And that's one thing that, you know, research does for you. And then when we start practicing, I mean, there's a lot that goes into practice. You know, I never win practice. I've had some really good practices over my career in the past where, I mean, if I call my wife and the tournament's going to start tomorrow and I say, man, I think I'm on them, I can just hear her go, man. She's not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to it at all, because some of the best practices I've ever had, I thought I had them dialed in, and I thought something. I mean, I just got confident that that I was on them, and I mean, it's some of the worst tournaments I've ever had. But if I've got just a little bit to go by, if I say, man, I've got a starting spot, I think I can get a bite or two, and then, you know, I've got confidence in a couple of areas, you know, that's a little bit more. And I think that over the years, that's came with experience, but it's also came with fishing the moment. That's something that we have to do. We have to fish the moment. The biggest thing in fishing is fishing the moment. I mean, when we're out there practicing, it's easy. We don't have pressure on us. I usually will break down a river or a lake in sections. If we get 3 days of practice.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.